Hello, my name is Doug Redd. I'm an attorney here in Birmingham, Alabama. And today we're going to talk about divorce. And more importantly, what we're going to talk about is a simple or uncontested divorces. I get a call or two a week on people that want to do a divorce. And most of those people have worked things out. In other words, they're asking for what the question is what is an uncontested divorce or what is a simple divorce? Today, that's what we're going to talk about. What is a divorce? Divorce is a legal action that dissolves a marriage. The marriage must have been legally recognized by any state or country that can be dissolved by a divorce. In other words, if you got married in Ohio, or you got married in Mexico, and that marriage is legally recognized in that state or that country, that means also that you could have gotten a divorce in that country or that state. Same thing holds true here for Alabama. If you were married somewhere else, the state of Alabama recognizes that marriage. And in Alabama, you can get a divorce. But you have to be a resident here for 6 months or more. And sometimes it's a little more involved in that. But the main thing is you can get a divorce. What is a divorce? A divorce is a legal action that can be very complicated or it can be very simple. It all depends on the parties. And the parties must be in complete agreement on these things. The parties can make it very complicated or make it very simple. What's the main elements of a divorce? The first main element, and it's not all the elements by the way, is the marital assets. What is the marital assets? The marital assets are the things that are acquired or purchased or taken in while you were married. In other words, if you bought something while you were married, then it's marital assets. If it's something you brought into the marriage before you married, there's a question about that. In which case you need a good experienced attorney to tell you exactly what you're dealing with here. The second part of that is marital debts. These are debts that you've acquired during your marriage. And they can be anything from credit card debts, can be anything from income tax debt. And we'll go through a few of those things in just a few minutes. But by and large, any debt that you acquired while you were married, and not necessarily those debts that you had before you got married, but while you were married. The last part, or the last thing that we're going to deal with here, is the last, which is the most important thing, is the children born of the marriage. And the disposition of those children. Now you have to remember, what we're talking about here is children that were born during the marriage. Not necessarily children that were born before you married. Again, you have to get an experienced attorney to help you with those details. But any children born during the marriage, there has to be a disposition. That means there has to be a custodial parent, there has to be a non-custodial parent, and there has to be child support. There's a lot of other things in that. But basically today we're going to tell you what's the main elements of a divorce, not all the elements of an uncontested divorce. Most divorces can be simple or what is called uncontested. You know what that means? That means an uncontested divorce requires that both parties agree totally on all the elements. You can't leave one thing out and call it a simple or uncontested divorce. It requires all the elements. Both the husband and the wife must be in complete agreement on all elements of the divorce. There cannot be any disagreement whatsoever on anything. If there's any disagreement whatsoever, you don't have a simple or uncontested divorce. Uncontested is exactly what it means, uncontested. And what's the advantages of an uncontested divorce? The advantages of an uncontested divorce, the first thing is you're going to save on legal fees. That means your attorney can handle this if you're both in total agreement. The next thing, which is probably just as good, is to go right through the court system. In other words, you file in the complaint, you file all the other documents that's necessary, and when you get through, you don't even have to go to court if things are done correctly. That's why it's important to get an experienced attorney that knows exactly what to do on each and every element, because say in Jefferson County they require a lot of different forms and they require these things to be done correctly. And when you finish up with all the paperwork and you file it into the court and it's done correctly, you'll receive what they call a final decree. It's important to know that what you're about to do is a legal action. Is an uncontested divorce a legal action? You better believe it. It's one that's hard, fast, and binding. It's a contractual obligation with the state saying you want this to be dissolved. And at the final, you'll receive a decree signed by a circuit judge that says your marriage has been dissolved. And it's been dissolved by the laws of the state of Alabama. And you're required to adhere to those requirements. If you would like to get a free consultation, all you have to do is call the Red Law Firm at area code 205, the number is 854-8874, and ask for me, Doug Red. Thank you.